In this episode, we're talking about creative ways the VeVe team can use their new Curator tool to grow the platform. What is going on, ladies and gents? Welcome to Collectors Gone Digital. My name is Josh, and on today's episode, in case you missed it, VeVe Comics has announced their new feature coming to the platform soon, that being their Comic Curator tool, which is going to allow independent comic creators and publishers to release their own work on the platform. So if you guys enjoy the content, make sure to like and subscribe. And as always, grab a drink, grab a snack, sit back, relax, and enjoy. Alright, so yesterday I put out a post saying the following: the Curator feature is an awesome announcement, but it's also shining a light on how much the VeVeVerse is being underestimated, or perhaps how interest has died off, and here's why. The Curator tool is smart because it produces user-generated content for the platform. This is exactly what's happening when a creator like myself makes a video about VeVe, or when somebody builds a space or hosts a space in the VeVeVerse. It's a widely successful model used by leading companies like Epic Games for Fortnite, Mojang for Minecraft, and Bungie for Halo. However, the Curator tool alone is not bigger than the VeVeVerse, okay? It's going to be an extension of VeVe Comics, and the VeVeVerse is going to encompass this entire part of the business, alongside other parts as well, like VeVe Collectibles. So I ended up going into 4 different examples in terms of how the VeVeVerse can complement the Curator tool, but in this episode, we're going to go through more than just 4. And the first one is virtual comic stands or storefronts. Now, I'm fully expecting there to be qualifications that a publisher or creator will have to meet to be part of this program. I say that because if VeVe was to just open the floodgates to literally everyone, I think that would just be an absolute nightmare, and there would be a whole lot of moderation needed. So maybe something like a minimum follower count, like 1,000 followers or something like that. That's how Epic Games does it. But in the VeVeVerse, independent publishers could have their own virtual comic stands or entire storefronts, where a user can visit, browse, and end up buying some comics. You could even style the entire store based on the comic's themes. So if you're dropping a new comic, you could create a whole branded experience around that book. It would also allow the artist to appear in more places than just the app. And this is really interesting to me. It makes me think of when webinar sales funnels started to pop up. What these allowed people to do was create a webinar that looked like it was live, right? That had people commenting in the chats, and the person who was on the screen would react to those comments, but it was all pre-recorded. And at the end of the webinar, you would get sold a book or package or course or whatever it was. Now, one of the main benefits behind these funnels was it would allow the person who was selling the product inside the webinar to appear as if they were there, but they were really elsewhere working on something else. And now that phrase, you can't be in more than one place at a time, it's not really true anymore. And so having a virtual storefront would allow an artist to promote and have people view their work from more places than just the app. Next up, an awesome opportunity I think VeVe can capitalize on here is by hosting contests every month or quarter where creators can compete to publish the most popular comic on VeVe. So winners could be featured on the app's homepage, or maybe they have an exclusive NFT created from their comic. Challenges like this would just encourage more content creation and community engagement. Now, another really cool idea that came to mind was collaborative projects. We already know something like the VeVeVerse is going to offer co-building. So why not allow creators to collaborate on joint comic book series? Let's say the Curator tool could cater to multi-creator projects, where writers, artists, colorers, letterers, professionals from different backgrounds could all work together on a single comic. Maybe interactive fan polls could be a thing in the future. So use the Curator tool to allow fans to vote on upcoming plot lines, character designs, or cover art. Maybe the artist has a few cover concepts and the fans want to vote on what the final cover could be. It would be an interactive experience where readers would feel like they actually have a direct influence on the story. So for example, fans could decide whether a hero lives or dies in the next issue. Something like this could also be integrated into a virtual storefront. So if you go back to point number 1 for a sec, in addition to comics on the shelves or art on the walls, you can have a hyperlink that points to a poll or a form they have to fill out. Now, we just wrapped up New York Comic-Con. For anyone who's been with the business for a little while now, A couple years back, VeVe was actually planning on doing a virtual Comic-Con. Now, they actually ended up pulling out last minute, but their capabilities of building that mixed with them building the VeVeVerse makes me think of a VeVe Comic-Con, where independent creators using the Curator Tool can showcase their latest works. They can host panels. Artists can interact directly with their fans. The main benefit from something like this would be exactly what VeVe's trying to achieve in the in-real-life events. In New York, VeVe's trying to gain exposure for themselves while bringing more people to the platform. Now, with a feature like the Curator Tool, VeVe could also let creators release limited edition comics or exclusive versions only available for a short window, or to those who acquire them within the VeVeVerse. So maybe these exclusives can feature alternate endings, character backstories. Maybe you dive deeper into the background of someone who, in the main comic, you don't get to know much about. Or maybe an entirely different art style. So you have the same lettering and you have the same sound effects and same story, but the art on each panel is a different style or maybe a different angle. VeVe's also talked about how they're creating a loyalty program for their creators. What's stopping them from including the comic creators in that as well? So for example, you could reward creators who publish comics regularly with some additional features. If you provide a code or a link to an artist who's now been approved in the program, that code can now send people to their comics, but it would also allow VeVe to track the conversions and determine who or what is most popular at the time. Now, lots of tools like this will eventually also add educational resources. So VeVe could provide tutorials or workshops that would teach independent creators how to leverage the tool and improve their comic making process. If they end up going this route, VeVe could become an essential hub for aspiring comic creators. Now, you could also introduce user-generated comic series. So VeVe, in combination with the artist who has given permission, could allow fans to contribute small storylines or side plots that could be featured in the independent creators comic series. The most popular fan-written comics could be officially published to the platform. And we've talked about the importance of user-generated content. That would only feed that even more. Now, this again can also be integrated into a virtual storefront, where maybe you have people actually visit the store to submit their storylines. Let's say they have to find and talk to the virtual avatar of the actual artist. Publishers could also host virtual release parties or Q&A sessions in the VeVeVerse, where readers can meet the creators in a virtual setting. So for example, digital comic signings or limited collectibles tied to the comic for attending the event, where you have to actually be in the VeVeVerse to get it. Even something as simple as setting up a stream board and then streaming some behind the scenes work of that comic. The people who attend that event get to see the actual process behind the piece, something that if you didn't attend the event, you would have missed out on. And lastly, I want to talk about adventures here, because I think, in my opinion, in order to truly merge storytelling with the VeVeVerse, interactive experiences can be created around the comics narratives. So maybe an artist commissions a world designer to build out an entire world that's inspired by their comic. And now, readers go from flipping pages to being immersed inside of the story they're reading. And again, this is an awesome opportunity for people to unlock exclusive items from these activities. So I really wanted to work on getting this video out because, like I said at the beginning, I really do feel like an announcement like this has shined a light on how much the VeVeVerse is being underestimated. So much so that apparently Ben was actually in a space on Discord, and at the end when he was leaving, he asked people if anyone wanted to talk about the VeVeVerse because no one was asking him. And this was a comment I made when I was watching back some of the interviews he's already done. No one's asking him questions about the VeVeVerse. So the Curator Tool is a fantastic announcement. More user-generated content coming to VeVe. Awesome news. But understand, guys, that the VeVeVerse is going to encompass all of this. And hopefully today's episode put into perspective how that tool can be used inside that virtual space. So as always, guys, any thoughts and opinions you have on this, please let me know in the comment section down below. Ladies and gents, that is going to conclude today's episode. I hope you enjoyed. We talked about 11 different examples of how the Curator Tool can be used inside the VeVeVerse. Now it's only a matter of time to see how many are implemented. But if you guys enjoy the content, make sure to like and subscribe. Comment down below what you want to see in a future episode. And as for our next, I will catch you then.